Alright, so hopefully you saw the other video about how to get your gun to run properly with an FRT or a super safety, ARS, assisted reset safety, whatever they want to call them. So here's why I personally would pick a safety over a trigger. As you can see in the picture here, this is a pretty complex unit. You're obviously not going to be able to go down to your local gun store and buy a new trigger or a new hammer for this. Some companies will make you send it back and they'll repair it or replace it. Some companies will send you the parts that you need or just sell you an entire rebuild kit, which is like new pins, new springs, new hammer, new trigger, new everything, and you just keep the body. But what if the body starts wearing out, etc.? Not to mention the price on a trigger is usually double to triple of what just a ARS or assisted reset safety would cost you. So you have the ability to, say for example, if your trigger or your hammer wears out, you just throw another cheapo mil-spec trigger and hammer in there. Another thing I've thought about is if your FRT trigger, forced reset trigger, was to fail, it may render your gun inoperable completely. Like it doesn't default to it only fires in semi, or it only fires in forced reset, or it's going to fail to not working at all, most likely. With a safety such as the Hoffman Tactical, the Super Selector, any of those guys that are doing it by using a mil-spec trigger and creating the forced reset with the safety, if that safety fails, if you know how a mil-spec trigger works, if that safety fails, you won't have forced reset, but you will still have semi-auto. All it needs is for the safety to get out of the way and you'll have semi-auto. The fact that you can wear out your hammer or your trigger or even your springs or your pins and just replace them with cheap mil-spec parts, that's a plus for me. The fact that it defaults to single fire only and will still run if the safety fails, that's a plus for me. If your forced reset trigger fails, you're not going to have a trigger. You're going to have to send it back. You're going to be without a weapon in the meantime, or you're going to have to put mil-spec parts back in it while you wait on your trigger to come back in the mail or your parts to come in the mail, etc. So I would err on a safety. Again, they're half or less of the cost of a forced reset trigger. The mil-spec trigger fire control group parts are going to be cheaper in the long run, and there's no downtime if your trigger fails. If the Super Selector were to fail, for example, you just throw a basic safety back in it, you run your mil-spec trigger, and you're back to semi-auto while they sort it out, mail you a new one, make you mail it back, whatever. I don't know what they do yet. I haven't seen any fail. Same with the super safety. If you just throw a regular safety back in it, you're back in semi-auto. However, like I said, if this FRT trigger fails that costs you $300 to $600, you've got to put an entire fire control group back in it. You're going to have to put the regular safety back in it, and you know what I mean. And then you're okay. Now you're back to semi-auto, but you're out $600 while you wait. And again, I haven't heard a lot of them failing, but apparently they do, because they do offer rebuild kits. Different companies have come out with them. Militia State Armory, I think, makes a copy of the Rare Beat trigger, like his own design, so it's an upgraded version of it basically. So there's a lot of options out there. I would lean towards an assisted reset safety versus a forced reset trigger, personally. To each their own. Comment below if you disagree. Thanks for watching.